If you're in the market for an affordable, all-electric SUV that costs somewhere around $40,000 or less, then stick around as I compare the Audi Q4 E-TRON to the Volkswagen ID.4. The Audi Q4 E-TRON and the VW ID.4 are both built off of the same EV platform. However, these two very unique electric SUVs have quite a few important differences, which I'd like to cover in this video. Also, make sure that you stick around to the end of the video where I'll talk about which one of these SUVs that I like the best, and I'll also talk about which one I believe offers a better value. So without further ado, let's dive into the details. Not everyone can afford a Tesla Model Y, which currently starts at just under $55,000 at the lowest trim level, which is the long-range all-wheel drive version. So I'm definitely thankful that a few other choices now exist with the VW ID.4 and the Audi Q4 E-TRON. For those that are looking for an electric SUV somewhere in the $40,000 price range, the VW ID.4 with the Pro model starts at just under $40,000. The lowest trim level of the Audi Q4 E-TRON, on the other hand, is a little bit more expensive, starting at just under $44,000. However, since both of these vehicles are still eligible for the full $7,500 US tax credit, for those who qualify, this brings the true cost of these vehicles well under $40,000, which means that the true cost of these vehicles could be somewhere around $20,000 less than the long-range all-wheel drive Tesla Model Y. Do note that the Audi Q4 E-TRON is available in either a regular or Sportback version. However, the Sportback models cost almost $3,000 more than the similar standard model, and these vehicles, the Sportback models, are only available in all-wheel drive. Because of this, for the rest of the comparisons, I'm going to be referring to the non-Sportback model, the regular Audi Q4 E-TRON. When it comes to exterior style, the Audi Q4 E-TRON looks very similar to the rest of Audi's SUV lineup, including a faux front grille. Overall, the Audi Q4 E-TRON is a great-looking SUV. However, it's not as likely to stand out in a crowd like the VW ID.4 will. When you set these two electric SUVs side by side, I personally prefer the exterior style of the VW ID.4. And every time I look at the ID.4, whether that be in pictures or in person, it actually stirs up a strong emotional response in me, and this is not something that happens when I look at the Audi Q4 E-TRON. Unlike the Audi Q4 E-TRON, the ID.4 has a much cleaner front, and in my opinion has a better overall shape, and also features a very distinctive and attractive rear light bar. Also, when you see the VW ID.4 in person, it definitely stands out and catches your attention. When it comes to an interior style comparison, while the ID.4 is not quite as Spartan as, say, the Tesla Model Y, it does have fewer buttons than the Audi Q4 E-TRON interior and does offer a more unique, modern style. Both vehicles offer a central infotainment screen as well as a display directly in front of the driver. However, the integration of the center display in the Audi Q4 E-TRON is a lot more seamless, and it flows a lot better with the overall interior design. When it comes to the software built into the infotainment systems, the Audi Q4 E-TRON appears to have an upper hand, as Audi's system has a much better overall design and appears easier to use. Here's what Nico at Quattro Daily had to say in a June 2021 article comparing the two systems. Audi's MMI system is far more intuitive, easier to use, quicker to respond, and even easier to reach comfortably. It's a more sensibly laid out system that flat out works better. While there are elements of the VW ID.4 interior that I do prefer over the Audi Q4 E-TRON, overall, with all things considered, I prefer the Audi Q4 E-TRON interior over the ID.4. When it comes to the premium features built into each one of these SUVs, although the VW ID.4 cost a bit less than the Audi Q4 E-TRON, the base ID.4 Pro model comes with more standard features. For example, adaptive cruise control, a heated steering wheel, and a wireless phone charging pad do come standard with all trim levels of the VW ID.4. However, if you want those features on the Audi Q4 E-TRON, you have to pay extra or move up to a higher trim level. The Audi Q4 E-TRON, however, does come standard with a power panoramic sunroof, whereas to get a fixed glass panoramic sunroof on the ID.4, you have to move up to the Pro S trim level. When it comes to another really important category, range, the VW ID.4 appears to offer slightly more EPA-rated range when you look at the all-wheel drive models. The rear-wheel drive models of the Audi Q4 e-tron have not been officially estimated by the EPA. However, due to the fact that these vehicles both have the same size battery pack, I'm guessing that the EPA-rated range of the rear-wheel drive Audi Q4 e-tron will be somewhere in the 250 to 260 mile range as well. When it comes to the more important real-world range numbers, I pulled up two Bjorn Nyland YouTube videos, and with his test, he rated the Audi Q4 e-tron to get around 302 miles at 90 kilometers per hour and to get around 206 miles of range at 120 kilometers per hour. He also tested the VW ID.4 First Edition, which is also a rear-wheel drive vehicle. And as you can see, Bjorn rated the VW ID.4 to get less range at 90 kilometers per hour and at 120 kilometers per hour than his test with the Audi Q4 e-tron. When it comes to exterior dimensions, these vehicles are very similar in size. However, when it comes to the more important interior dimensions, which shows how much room you have for your passengers, the VW ID.4 does offer slightly more interior room over the Audi Q4 e-tron. Most notably, the VW ID.4 offers over 2 inches more headroom than the Audi Q4 e-tron in the front seats. So if you're a tall person, this could actually be really important. When it comes to another really important category, cargo room, the VW ID.4 does offer quite a bit more total cargo room over the Audi Q4 e-tron. Unfortunately, however, neither of these vehicles offer a front trunk. When it comes to the towing capabilities of each of these vehicles, according to VW, the ID.4 rear-wheel drive version with a braked trailer can tow up to 2,200 pounds, and the all-wheel drive model can tow a braked trailer up to 2,700 pounds. It appears like the Audi Q4 e-tron will be able to tow a very similar amount, with their official press release mentioning that the all-wheel drive Audi Q4 e-tron is able to tow up to 2,600 pounds. Do note that these are up to numbers, and there are a certain number of factors that will be mentioned in the owner's manual of each of these vehicles that could affect the actual towing capacities. Always refer to the vehicle's owner's manual for exact safety instructions and the actual towing limits based on your exact configuration. When it comes to a performance comparison, according to data from evdatabase.org, these vehicles, the Audi Q4 e-tron and the VW ID.4, have pretty much identical top speeds and quickness when it comes to 0 to 62 miles per hour. Also, according to data from evdatabase.org, when it comes to charging speed, these vehicles should take pretty much the same exact time to charge from a 10% state of charge to an 80% state of charge. And when you factor in the EPA rated range, the miles added per minute of charging will look very similar. When it comes to a crash safety rating comparison, the Euro NCAP recently tested the Audi Q4 e-tron and they gave it an overall 5-star rating. The VW ID.4 was also tested by the Euro NCAP, and as you can see, they gave it a 5-star overall rating as well. For the adult occupant and child occupant categories, both vehicles received the same score from the Euro NCAP. However, they gave the ID.4 a higher score for the vulnerable road users and safety assist categories. Lastly, when it comes to the limited warranty offered on each one of these vehicles, both the ID.4 and the Audi Q4 e-tron offer an 8-year, 100,000 mile battery warranty, and a 4-year or 50,000 mile powertrain and comprehensive warranty. So really, to wrap all this up, when it comes down to which SUV I like better, it's actually somewhat of a hard decision. While both SUVs are very impressive, overall it appears like the VW ID.4 is a better overall value because it offers more standard features at a slightly lower price point. However, the Audi Q4 e-tron may well be worth the extra cost when you consider the improved interior function, design, and its really good infotainment system software. However, if I were personally going to purchase one of these electric vehicles right now, I would purchase the VW ID.4 mostly because I really like the exterior style and it offers a better value and lower price. Do let me know which one of these electric SUVs that you prefer and which one would you buy if given the choice. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Patreon supporters who support me every month and help make this content possible. A special thank you to my performance supporters and also the other supporters listed on the screen. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community I've set up, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you so much.